What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Albert House. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Anna, Andy, Bill, Brian, D. Good morning to Frank, Lauren, Martina. We got Rob in the house. All my people out in YouTube land. Clarice, M. Sky. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. That's just not gonna say nothing. It's okay. Hit that like and subscribe button. But I see you guys are still piling in. Exhausting day yesterday listening to Jerome Powell, but he did what he had to do. Which was nothing. I when I was hopping off around noon yesterday, I was like, "Pal, the only thing you got to do, big task, big task for you, but just don't do anything. Just do nothing, and we'll be good." So essentially, that's what he did. There's talk that there's like he started to dip his toes into some QT. He started talking about like how inflation's not really that important anymore. It's coming down, but we're just going to expect higher inflation. I don't know. And you'll hear analysts pretty much all over the spectrum as to why we ran and why we ended up pulling back at the end of the day. None of it matters. The only thing that really matters is he did nothing. That was it. He didn't have the rate cuts. He didn't go with a rate hike. He didn't overemphasize any future kind of cuts. Still data dependent, but for the most part, he at least took inflation off the table. And then he did bring back transitory with tariffs too. So he was kind of brushing off tariffs a little bit and saying, "Well, we'll see how it plays back, but it's usually a shorter term thing." That's dangerous lingo for Jerome Powell, but we'll see what happens from here. So the next big thing we got is we got a few companies reporting earnings tonight. I think we got Micron will be the big one. We got Nike. We got FedEx. I think is another one. And there's one or a few other companies, but it's kind of a wide range of industries. So that should be interesting to see how we pass today, and then quad witching tomorrow. So there's a lot of puts in the market. We'll see how much pressure Friday wants to give, and then that sets us up, clears the path for people who are getting out of positions and puts to reestablish where they think this market's going from here, and gives us a clear runway for next week. So we will see. We will see. Otherwise, um, and we were talking about this in Slack yesterday too. I think this was part of just a wave. So if we're looking at the wave count on things, which we have. I think this was really some type of longer term three. This was our two. This was probably something like our one. So I think this is a pullback into the close, almost the four, five, something like that, double top. 570 is a huge number on the SPY. So if we could get some closing above 570, I think that puts us back above the 200, and that gives us clearance above some big resistance. So we got into it, strong move into it. Sometimes it gets a little confusing as to how strong we make a good run into a very strong, difficult uh, spot on the market. But yeah, we got right through that 200 yesterday. Would have been nice if we closed above it. Did not do it. At this point, I'm looking for 568.79, so that should be a decent resistance today for the bull side of things. Bulls will have to climb back above 564.59. If we could get there, that would be my next target in the 568 zone. Sets us up for tomorrow. Yesterday was a big day. Today might be a small day. Today might be a little inside chop situation. Otherwise, to the downside, you got 561.72 and 561.19. So he figured out, Jerome Powell figured out how to do what he was supposed to do. Just nothing. Keep us in this range. The more we consolidate, we're still above some of the higher volume candles. Really want to see us stay above his 561.37. Don't really want to see some retesting. Otherwise, then we're probably looking for this 551.67 double bottom, and then maybe break out, or the delta side of that would be breakdown, and I think you get some further selling ahead of us. Otherwise, we got Q's. Q's we got again just a little chop. So they Q's closed pretty decent. We ran perfectly into the resistance of 484.97, and then we just ended up kind of giving some back from there. So I don't know. Little indifferent on the market for today. Nothing too crazy. Support on this one, which we did hit yesterday. It is able to break down a little bit easier today. You got 474.99 if we can get there. Otherwise, we're opening for the moment at a interesting support 477.05. So 477. Otherwise, if you start breaking down that last little pivot, your next spot 474.03. Again, these are all zones that we played with. So you really want to start to see some bulls start to fight back a little bit. TLT, yep, TLT was moving. We didn't cover it yet, but TLT, nice little gap up on that one. So bonds are starting to move higher, which means the rates are lower. That should be positive. Should be a little positive. You also have you have TLT moving higher. You also have gold moving higher as well. Gold was hitting all-time highs the other day. So there's a case for some protection still. But TLT, that is gapping up pretty decently. Look for 92.58 as your next kind of resistance. If we close above that, I think you got room to like 93.76, and maybe we continue. Retest gap from today. TLT doesn't always respect the gaps just because it's more news based, sentiment based than anything else. But fairly good, fairly decent gap on TLT. Looks rather strong for today. So we'll watch TLT, see if we get any more reaction and see if the market wants to react. There's been times, even yesterday, you had TLT moving, and then you also had SPY kind of moving in with it, and then it was disconnected at one point. So it was a little, I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're perfectly following. Like it seems like the market is just in a massive state of confusion right now. So yeah, we'll see. It's just an indicator for you. Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to follow it, and then you'll see times where it's like TLT is moving, and the SPY should be moving in that direction too, or usually typically opposite. But you have TLT coming down, the SPY probably usually should be going up. Uh, Otherwise, like then you see like a disconnection where it's like they're both moving, and you're like, huh, okay, interesting, interesting. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Wendy's in the house. What's up, Wendy? Bitcoin is it actually had a strong close yesterday. Pretty phenomenal close. So far giving some back, but this could be a resting day. I don't love the fact that we are below 85, 847. I would like to see the bulls kind of recapture that, but since we are below it, probably the next target on this one is about 84, 465. Still relatively in the chop zone, but more notably, we've been starting to put in at least some higher lows on some of these pivots. So that's decent. We have to start recapturing like this one. We have to start getting like a major new higher high. But yesterday, being said, we closed right back above that 200 again, so it's not bad. You figure you're gonna have some kind of retest coming in today. So far, we're hanging in there. You got some support all the way down here, like we talked about, and then also decent volume on this candle, this one right here. So we've struggled to really close above it, get a nice close above it. Yesterday was the day we did. So this right here on Bitcoin should be a very, very good support on Bitcoin. You don't really want to see that get taken out. Otherwise, next target to the lower side of things would be 82,026. And then if you are getting down there, I think the fact that you're taking out yesterday's candle would be an extreme sign of weakness for Bitcoin. And I think all of these lower levels probably end up getting taken out. We end up seeing new lower lows. So something to keep an eye on in crypto world. And I think Trump is supposed to have a pre-recorded statement for I don't know if it's a crypto conference going on today, but Trump will be talking. I believe Emily posted Trump is supposed to be talking crypto today. So we'll see how that plays out. Benjal says, is that LP crashing the market? Uh, Leopard Golds? I don't know. Maybe IP? Is it IP? International Paper Company? My brother-in-law, this is like he doesn't do stocks. He owns one stock. It is this one. And he owns like 10 shares that he bought forever ago. Just because I think he liked the TV show the one in Scranton, The Office. Yeah. He was a fan of The Office, so he bought some paper company. I was like, that's innovative. Okay. So that's random that I was able to pull that up. Oh, JP is what you're going for there. JP, yep. I don't think JP's crashing the market. I think he's chilling. I honestly I didn't get out of that meeting yesterday with Jerome Powell feeling like that was bearish at all. In fact, I think he was more dovish than I was expecting, and I was expecting like I was still expecting a positive reaction if he did nothing. And so he satisfied the only criteria I gave him, which wasn't a high bar. But he actually threw in a little. He was a little extra more dovish than I thought. So I don't know. Yeah, Baba is gapping down. It is a retest gap from the last really 2 days. Both those candles inside day. So maybe a little bit of a pullback here. I would act as a little bit more gap and go. However, you are opening at some support 137.04. If that starts to break, I think you got room to the downside on Baba to probably somewhere around 132.22. But it's had a ferocious run twice now. These pullbacks, as we've seen, can get ugly. Like you can have some wild pullbacks on Baba. So I don't know if this is the start of it, but we were able to, in a longer term picture at least, continue to make those higher highs, higher lows. So you see a big breakout from somewhere around 70 to 90, I guess. Almost gave it all back. Another move from about 72-ish all the way up to about 119. Gave most of that back. Good portion of that back. Made another new higher high. So and then even on this move, we had made another kind of new higher high. So I don't know. Longer term, you could see this. I'm gonna still hold no matter what. It doesn't matter to me. But there could be a bigger pullback on Baba. I'm not sure if this is the start to that move. You are above all moving averages. They look pretty. So we're pretty much far extended from some of these. So it would make sense that you get a deeper pullback. I don't know if this is the beginning of it, but I do think that there's probably still a lot of people underweight China stocks, Europe stocks. I think they're probably looking for buy opportunities. It's kind of proven itself that it can make those higher highs and has big swings. I don't know if this is enough of a pullback to really entice the bulls to be like, okay, this is a spot I want to buy. However, if this happens, you can bet almost down to 100 again. That would be an interesting spot to for those bulls who missed this run, who missed this run, who maybe even missed this run because of just a lot of fear in China. We'll see. But maybe that is a gap to go for today. I would be leaning a little bit to the bear side, but see if that support wants to break down first. Let's see. There was another. He dodged all the bulls like Neo yesterday. Yeah, he figured out it was the QT. That's how he figured out how to make it all work. He snuck that in there. I wasn't thinking he was gonna start talking selling off some of the balance sheet. You got AVGO is chilling for now. Again, a decent day, really nice close. However, gap and go to the bear side for today. You have really, really good support. A few levels, but I would say the line in the sand on this one, 10 not 10, 191.75. So you kind of want to stay above that. Otherwise, there's a few other levels that could get a little choppy in here. But pretty good close, I think. Again, it's down with the rest of the market, so which the rest of the market's pulling back a little bit today. Otherwise, the first spot to really look for like 192.60, but make sure you give your stops a little bit of room on this one just to be below that bigger support on this one. And then we are still in this range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. MU reports today after the bell. I don't know. Maybe if they report decent, um, maybe some of the tech names can wake up again. But then you also have quad witching tomorrow too. So that's gonna put. I think that's gonna douse a fire for either direction for the most part. Tessie. Tessie had a good after hour session. I think he got back to like 242. Really nice location. Even yesterday, I was looking for targets around 240. Actually, I was looking for targets around I think it was like 230. Yeah, 239. So I was looking for like targets around 239. We got to 240. We actually got to the high of the day of like 241.37. After hours last night, it was starting to pump to, I think it was some positive comments made on Tesla. They got the 242, but then they got the recall. So they're recalling Cybertrucks. Some of the side panels are falling off. That is a one, so it is a bulletproof truck. I'm pretty positive it's bulletproof, but it only works if there's sides on the car. If the sides fall off, the bulletproof factor fades. So they're gonna want to put those hot glue them back. Maybe they call it Boeing. See how Boeing kind of puts their planes together. Maybe use that same technology. I'm not sure, but you do have a recall on Cybertrucks. And that's going to be a negative news. I forget how many it was. It was like 92,000, something like that. Such a stickler for the details. Yeah. I mean, in the fine print says only like don't try to get shot up if your side panels are not there. You know, have those on first. But now today this is gonna make it a little tricky. I think you have your resistance somewhere around 233.71. It is a gap and go to the bear side, so for today, probably leading bearish until you break out of this 233.71. We'll see what happens from there. Otherwise, your immediate targets on this one would be 230.20, and I wouldn't be shocked with some bearish momentum. You get back down to this 227.11. Obviously, Tesla has some range on it. So watch that 227.11 like an absolute hawk. If you start getting closes under there, that might take us into this next kind of move down. But all of this, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and it's been a big range. It's really inside this one candle. So this is still the candle to watch. It got scary at one point. You had that bear trap come in. It almost got scary again, but good double bottom right into the close of that candle. So all of this still happening. If you're just playing this candle, you do have more risk reward to a bull side than to a bear side. But I think even at that point, you're probably waiting for this thing to come down a little bit further to establish a position and run it back to like eventual 252 if it could get there. We'll see. But you're fighting a bear trend and then having a recall during a moment like this. I don't know. I don't know. We got AU. Yeah. So like when I was in elementary school, I think it was like fifth grade, my teacher was like, she had like crazy little fun phrases when we were learning the periodic table. So the one for gold, she was like, "Hey, you, give me back my gold." And that method of teaching, it really works for me because 30 years later, and I still remember AU is gold. hmm So they got a good ticker name. Gold is still absolutely blazing. It looks good. Uh, it is a retest gap for today. Very, very difficult to buy something at all-time highs. Unless you love crypto, then that's a good time. Just always buy highs. Otherwise, we got AU. If you're in it, looks good. Probably gets a pullback, I would assume, at open if you're trying to buy this thing. First spot I would look for is 35, 34. Other than that, even that I think is probably a little stretched. I would need a bigger pullback, 33.08, 32, somewhere in that range. But tough spot anywhere up here unless you get a more dramatic pullback. If you're in gold, though, it looks pretty good. Uh, MSTR. MSTR. Uh, well, we saw crypto. Bitcoin did have a good day, and usually following a good day, you'd want to see a pullback, a little bit of rest. That's what we're kind of getting today. That might affect MicroStrategy for today if we don't get a absolute just reversal on Bitcoin. Same thing, you got right into a really good resistance, slightly above it, but bulls closed right into that resistance somewhere around 304.33 ish. Also, you have your 50 EMA sitting right there too. And now we have the fight of EMAs. So I got my 20, my 50, and my 100 all tangled up into the zone. If we get a little bit of a further pullback, look for yesterday's support to hold somewhere right around 298.39. If that starts to break, I don't know if I love the risk reward to the downside. Your next target is about 294.55. Then you got 291.66. Final target, stretch target. Take me back to like 283.02. So that's possible, but there's a lot kind of holding you up still. to the higher side, you really want to see this 304, let's call it 304.20 get taken out. We get some candles closing above that. Then I think you have some decent room to the bull side, but for right now, just kind of chilling. Not a huge edge to that one. Coinbase is chilling. Same thing. At least this got good consolidation. The one thing that I am concerned with is it does look like a bear flag. So we'll see if another breakdown comes in on this one. But you have almost something to look or resemble some type of bear flag, and we're still just in the middle of this. We don't know which way it's going to break yet. Bear flags don't always have to break down, but it is one thing to consider that that is your last move. That's your last sentiment. Really, your confirmation is once you get above this candle. Other than that, you're still kind of in this chop. I would look a little deeper into this thing and say if you get closing, and we got up there again. Man, they tried. If you get some closing above 191.67, that might start setting you up for a little bit of a better risk reward where you get into this thing, stops probably somewhere around 176.02 for a swing trade, and then see if we could bang out of here bullish targets to like 213, something in that range, extended targets. And again, this is not for day trading, this is for swing trade. 217.98, something like that would be your bigger target, stretch target, see if you can get to, or if this is just a big correction and you actually have a actual thorough bounce through here. But for right now, they got close. They tried it. Inside day, you're right at that support now. See where this thing wants to open at. We'll put this one higher to the list, but it is a little bit to the chop side. XPEV. XPEV. Oh, gap and go to the bear side again, right into that resistance. So somewhere around 22.62. I'd like to see that hold. The trend of this one has been bullish. And you got all your moving averages. You're going to be starting to be met with the 20 EMA. And then even before you get to that, if you start breaking support, you got 22.41. I think I need a breakdown first. So a lot of these things that are just in that bullish momentum, if you want to play this something short, I almost want to see a nice big candle retest and then probably play it here. Because these are bounce locations. If you're going to continue to make the higher lows, this would be your spot to make that higher low and then higher high again, stay bullish. But right now, I think overall looks still bullish. Gap and go for today. XPeng, it's gonna gap kind of frequently as well, so we'll see if that support wants to hold. But if there's a bigger pullback in China, this thing probably will come with it as well. It's definitely had a nice move built into it. Bill wants Nvidia, so we did make a quick one, just really quick 1.2 yesterday. Like, I don't even know if we were able to get our targets into the broker in time. It was just that quick. This is incredible speed. We got in, I think, the second candle of the day. We only needed Jerome Powell's assistance to get us up to our target. So we had to wait in this trade for, let's say we got in around 9:45. By the time we hit targets on this one, it was roughly 3 o'clock, 3:03. I was like, man, I don't know. Maybe we went a little too wide on the stops. I think we needed every bit of it, but we hit. It was a good trade. Otherwise, it came into a high wave candle for yesterday. High wave indecision on what was at one point the leader of the pack, the thing that was carrying the entire market, and now the thing that carries the entire market is undecided. So we don't know. Still hanging out above. Look for support again, 116.22. We did hit that yesterday. Next support on this one would be 115.60 if we get down there. It is indecision candle. Again, it's going to take a little edge off. If you have your next support, I think the immediate support 116.18. I think your immediate resistance is 117.34. So that's going to give me, even inside this high wave candle, a little bit of chop as well. I think the best way to play this one is just not probably do it at the open. See if this thing comes down first, then maybe take a stab bullish. Or if you want to try to take a stab in the bearish direction, you're looking for just nothing at open and wait for this 117.38. At least you get some better risk reward. Whether we break out of there or not is still unknown. But you're at the lower end of a high wave candle that was at least briefly bullish. So we'll see what happens on on Nvidia today. It is a gap and go to the bear side, so immediate reaction. I'm curious though, in this market, based on Jerome Powell yesterday, the market is actually giving us another opportunity to almost get into a lot of things pretty much where we got into prior to Jerome Powell. And I'm wondering if this is just the market, one more fear, one more little drop, but a good place for us to play Jerome Powell today after yesterday's reaction. Let's actually take a look real quick. So he came out at 2 o'clock. Let's go to a smaller time frame. I want to find out where that market was prior. So I think this was our 2 o'clock candle. So we were sitting at on the SPY prior to Jerome Powell, all the waiting that we did all day. And then don't even forget the day before that. That was just brutally waiting. But you got roughly 563.17 on the SPY. We are almost right back into that pre-announcement Jerome Powell numbers. What has changed? What has changed from that initial reaction that just went all crazy? I don't know. I mean, besides maybe some news from Tesla and some random upgrades and downgrades across the board, but overall macro situation just stayed the same. So I think you might have some people. I don't know if this is the best spot. Maybe we got to break Jerome Powell's numbers. I got really good support somewhere around 560.97. Maybe we got to make it down there first. But I think there's a certain point for today where the market was, at least yesterday, a brief moment in time, just a little bit relaxed, a little bit more bullish than bearish for the first time in about a month and a half. So if that's the case, and if that's something that could carry, these might be some interesting buy spots. Again, quad witching tomorrow is going to affect a lot of things. But we'll see how this plays out. But it's a very, very interesting spot to at least consider. Maybe there's some buy the dippers. Maybe there was a good double top after hours. People are taking some gains, and this may be the second opportunity on this one. So I'm a little I'm not really trusting the Bears on this one, but the Bears can punch you in the face pretty hard. Other than that, everybody else in YouTube land, that bell is right about to ring. But we'll see how today plays out. Today's close is going to be important, and then really tomorrow's close, how we close this week, is going to be extremely important for this market to see how this week survives after Jerome Powell and just the craziness. But we will see. Other than that, you guys are awesome, and I will make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. Otherwise,